What's up, my beautiful YouTubers? Thank you guys so much for tuning back to the channel. So today is the day we've all been waiting for. Forbes.com announced this morning that a new stimulus package is expected to be announced today by Congress. $1,200 second stimulus checks and employment benefits are expected to be included in the package. Now, Senate Republicans are expected to introduce their long-awaited proposal stimulus package today. And here's what's inside. So as mentioned, the second stimulus checks are expected to be there. The amount of $1,200 is also expected to be in the package. They have not yet released it officially, so we don't yet know the income amount limitations. As I stated in a previous video, I do not believe that the $40,000 limit is going to be in the package. I think it's going to be higher. We haven't yet confirmed whether or not it's going to be $75,000 the limit per individual or $150 per household. But we can confirm it is going to be initiated. Now, you guys may be aware the first stimulus package under the CARES Act was up to $1,200 for each individual and $2,400 for married joint filers. And then there was an additional $500 for dependents. So if you earn less than $75,000 or $150 married, you receive $1,200 for the first stimulus. They did phase it out after $99,000 of adjusted gross income, and that is expected to be the same case in this package. They have not yet released information on the dependent amount. My guesstimation is that it's going to be probably identical to what the original one was, which was $500 per dependent. There was a lot of talks that the dependent amount could also be $1,200, and that may still be the case. We don't yet know, but the rumors through the Associated Press is that it's going to be the original $500. Now, another big one that everyone's waiting to hear is the unemployment benefits and the return to work bonus. So the Associated Press reports that the Senate Republicans are leaning towards a proposal of $200 per week for unemployment benefits rather than the $600 that Congress authorized under the CARES Act. And why are they doing that? Well, they understand that basically people still need unemployment benefits, but they think that $600 de-incentivizes people to go back to work. So they've decided to settle on a $200 per week additional to your unemployment bonus. So if you were making $250 per week, that now will be $450 per week. So they are still going to give everyone an incentive to for who are still unemployed. So they were also concerned that a lot of people were earning more unemployed than working. So they, that's kind of one of the reasons why they decided to reduce that. But they are going to include that, which is a good deal. Now, the current unemployment benefits were set to expire here this week, and they're going to extend the unemployment benefits up until December 31st, 2020. At least that's what's in the proposal, and that's what's reported to the Associated Press. So the unemployment benefits will be extended until the end for the entirety of 2020. Now, without congressional intervention, unemployment was set to expire, but they did want to put a stopgap measure in place until they can get a finalized term on how they want to do the benefits beyond 2020, which is what they proposed. Now, what about the return to work bonus? Well, Senate Republicans and the White House, they've rallied around Senator Rob Portman, who's the Republican in Ohio, who proposed a $450 a week cash return to work bonus. So they are set to release some type of cash return to work incentive to get everyone who was going to accept the job. Now, they haven't released details on that yet. We don't know if that's going to be if you accept a position that you'll get that bonus, for a month or 2 months or a couple of weeks. We're not entirely sure yet on that, but they are expected to include a cash return to work bonus in the upcoming announced package today. Now, in regards to payroll tax cuts, as you guys may have heard in the previous video, President Donald Trump said he would consider vetoing the stimulus package if it doesn't include a payroll tax cut for businesses. He believes a pro-growth strategy is necessary to stimulate the economy, and I guess what better way to do it than to give businesses tax breaks? And so President Donald Trump says that he won't approve it, and also that he wants to tie the funding for the schools to reopening. We don't yet know if that's going to be in the package or not, or if that's going to be a prerequisite, but we do know that that's something that was heavily put as a requirement from the president. Now, we also know that the Republicans, separate from the president, are very against the payroll tax cut. They think that they've done enough for businesses thus far. They've gotten lots of tax cuts, and so why offer any more? So the Republicans are well on board for a $1,200 stimulus check, which we can anticipate is going to occur. Now, they are having some discussions. Instead of doing a just flat-out payroll tax cut, they are discussing doing a payroll tax deferral. So I think that's what's going to be anticipated in the package that's going to be announced today. And what that basically means is that the businesses who hire or keep a certain amount of employees are not going to get an upfront payroll tax cut, but they will have their taxes deferred maybe for a year or 2 or 3 years until they can get back on their feet, and business can start getting back to normal after this COVID situation is over, which I think is a great middle ground. So it'll be interesting to hear when this package gets announced later today, whether or not they do an actual just flat out tax break or it's a tax deferral. Now, state and local aid. The Republicans plan to produce and propose $150 billion to open schools. There was a lot of questions as to how much they were going to approve because the Democrats wanted a lot more than what the Republicans did to fund schools. So what we have here is we have Republicans plan to propose $150 billion to open, $15 billion for child care centers, and also it's going to include $70 billion for K-12 schools and $30 billion for colleges and universities. That also is going to include the $5 billion for governors to spend at their discretion. Now, the funding will be available to schools that open for both in-person and remote instructions. And so it's not a requirement that schools open in person, which is great because I think the president himself just cares that it gets open so that the funding and so forth can go in there. So that's a good thing. Democrats have been targeting $1 trillion for the state and local aid and $430 billion in open schools, but it looks like that's not going to get approved. The Republicans think that it's too much. Now, McConnell, the head of the House, he has been adamant on wanting to put a liability protections for businesses. So he wants the 5-year liability put in place for businesses, and he wants it to be in place retroactively to protect businesses, hospitals, and schools from being sued for basically any kind of COVID infections. And so that is anticipated to be in the package. Now, how about this student loan forgiveness? So the Democrats proposed student loan forgiveness of $10,000 in the middle of the May package. And they did propose that in this package, and unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though that it's going to be in the package. The Democrats really did want to throw in some student loan forgiveness of $10,000, but it wasn't a hard line in the stance. It was more of a nice to have. Well, yeah, tell that to the people who have student loans, right? And it was more of a nice to have, but the Republicans pushed back on that, and so the Democrats have conceded, and they don't anticipate to have that in the package. It may still be in there. We don't know. We may get a surprise update later this afternoon or this morning, but as of right now, it's not anticipated to be in there. Now, Payroll Protection Program. The new stimulus package is expected to extend the PPP program, and that was set to expire on August 8th. Now, the Republicans proposed to use the unspent $134 billion that was previously authorized to make additional PPP loans, and that's what's anticipated is going to happen. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with that, the Payroll Protection Program is a program put in place for businesses and small businesses and so that they can receive loans that then can be forgiven if they agree to hire and keep a certain amount of employees during this crisis. That's actually really important. It doesn't directly affect you, but what it does do is that it ensures that businesses are actively trying to hire because they're being financially incentivized to do so, and that means that there's going to likely be more jobs where there probably wouldn't be if they didn't give companies incentive. Now, in terms of coronavirus testing, the Senate Republicans, they had planned to propose $25 billion for coronavirus testing and contact tracing. At least according to the AP, the $25 billion is equal to the $9 billion already authorized in a prior stimulus, plus the $16 billion of new spending. That is anticipated to be in the package. Now, McConnell did say that he wants to introduce packages in multiple bills rather than a single legislative proposal. So what we may actually find is that the package is actually going to be announced today from actually separate packages. We're not entirely sure about that yet, but we anticipate that may be very well the case. So don't be surprised if we find out that the packages actually are released on a case-by-case basis. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is what is being reported today as of this morning, and I am very excited. It's very exciting because it tells us that Congress has finally gotten off their butt, that they have gotten to a middle ground for an agreement period. And it means that second stimulus checks are going to come. And it also means that people who are unemployed are going to still receive unemployment benefits, which is an amazing thing that's going to take place. That should really help take the load off a lot of families. There's one thing that was not yet mentioned, and I think it's very important. This is actually super important, and I'd be interested to hear what's going to be in the package today that gets announced, and that is the housing benefits. I'd be interested to hear if they're going to release any type of housing benefit information that's going to help protect people from being evicted or paying their rent or mortgage or so forth, who have lost their job as a result of the COVID-19. My guess is that it's going to be included, and I just say that because the evictions and the defaults of mortgages and also on the rents have gone up significantly last month. Actually, the beginning of last month, and it's extended into this month, and so I can't possibly see Congress not putting some type of benefits or stopgap, if you will, into place so that things can go well. So this should be very interesting to hear what they do with that approval. Other than that, guys, I really appreciate you guys tuning into the video. I can't thank you so much for checking in. Hopefully, this has been positive news for you all. If you guys haven't already, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. So this is a financial education channel, and as promised, I am producing videos for you guys to give you the latest on the stimulus package update as soon as we have it, as soon as it gets released to the public. And also stay tuned for more, because I will be doing a follow-up video as soon as we can confirm all of the package details and continue to give you guys information on when we can expect to receive these checks in the mail. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.